You Gothamites, it's time to dust off your starter jackets. I think it's rip off those tearaways.
I reckon it's blow into those game cartridges and rip off your tearaways. We should leave this all in.
I think.
And one of us is going to be wrong.
Yeah.
What's the wager? The other one has to watch Dick Tracy again. Please has to watch Dick Tracy again.
Oh, that's tough, man. But all right, good bet. All right. I'm Sean Kelly.
And I'm Pat Sellers.
And we wish it was the 90s. Welcome back.
That's definitely right.
Yeah. This is what happens when the Blandfords leave us on our own.
This is going to be an absolute mess. Apologies to everyone in advance.
Yep. What a way to launch. I guess it's not new because I've worked this out. We're dipping into two of our series. Our Saturday morning. Yeah, Serai.
Thanks the plural there.
Two of our Serai Saturday morning cartoons and this week on. I was about to call it on this day, and then I was going to say this day on. We, Pat and I, have watched episode 10 and 11, or 17 and 18, depending if you're going in air date or production order, Season 1, Batman the Animated Series, Two-Face, Part 1 and 2. I say 10, 11, or 17 and 18 because there is a production order, there's an air date order, and when I was trying to work out which was probably correct, I found out that if you go onto Reddit, you could just use some random pundit's timeline order. So, with that in mind, we were not planning on watching all 85 episodes in order anyway. So we'll watch them out in our own order, and because we're going by date, these episodes aired on, I didn't write that down either, did I? September 25th and 28th of 1992. Just quickly before we dive in, so it's a pretty famous animated series, probably with the 90s comic book nerd culture held in probably the highest regard. There might be some X-Men fans who would argue, but I think this is probably the most popular superhero cartoon, certainly of the 90s. And it led to so much. You get Batman the Animated Series, then you get the New Adventures of Batman and Robin, you get Superman, you get World's Finest, you get Justice League Unlimited. It's all born out of this. Into, probably the blueprint for the MCU, if I'm honest. But yeah, so it was created by Bruce Timm and Eric Radomski. Bruce is very well known for his art style, which you see in the show. And the other person who probably worth mentioning is Paul Dini, who's very well known for his writing and some of the really famous episodes. But these two episodes were written by Alan Burnett and Randy Rogel, or is it Rogel? Sorry, Randy.
I don't know, but I kept reading it as Roger Randall when it would come up on the screen for some reason.
You quick over 100 meters, mate.
Don't take him on tour to South Africa. Anyway, I really enjoyed this rewatch.
Oh, mate, this
more than I thought I was going to.
Talk to me about your Batman Animated Series memories.
I'm gonna pick a bone with your intro because I think this fits clearly in one category. More so than this week on, this time around. It's definitely Saturday morning cartoons because it was what now special on a Saturday morning. Watch Batman the Animated Series. This was an awesome rewatch, and I genuinely enjoyed it. But I just, as soon as the intro, I couldn't really picture it in my head as well as soon as the intro came on. Member berries started flowing from there, and then as soon as you hear our old mate Kevin Conroy, R.I.P. They got you
Oh,
right in the feels. This was outstanding, and the artwork. Who'd you say did the artwork? It was.
Bruce
I
Timm.
was like, this holds up. This is really cool.
Yeah. It fits the aesthetic, right? Because it's like this Art
Does.
Deco thing / like 1920s gangsters look. But yeah, just the way the characters are drawn. But also, I was going to talk about this as well. But I'd like to go back and just rebuke you for critiquing my hybrid episode because, as you know, I put it out to the listeners and I said, "What episodes would you like us to do?" Because we're not going to do all 85. How many people do you reckon responded?
One, but that was you.
I was going to say too many to count. Somewhere in between there. Somewhere much closer to what you said.
Yeah.
Somewhat bang on what you said.
I reckon you looked up the episodes and went, I want to watch that.
No, what I did
and then
do...
you messaged me to say, this is what we've been requested to watch.
I went on... I like top 10 lists. And
that's
there's
good.
Heaps. There's heaps. So then I went on, because they've all got a rating on IMDb. So top 10 by rating.
Yeah.
And then, but there were some that came up in those other lists that I thought sounded really interesting. And I was like, I don't know what to do here. So I went on to Reddit. I've spent a lot of time on Reddit this week and I don't want to talk about it. But, and just went through the comments of like people saying what their favourite episode is and sort of drew together what I think is probably a solid list of about 10 that we could cover as we feel. And I picked this one because I didn't know how to choose what one to start with. And I was like, well, these ones aired this week. So that was how I came to that. And it actually caused me quite a lot of stress. But yeah, back to your point about the artwork. I wanted to mention that. So I read this as well. I think I knew this, or I don't know. But to create the sort of constant sort of eerie nighttime feeling, the background painters use dark paper instead of white paper, which is what most animation is made on. So that gave it that sort of overall dark feeling, but also saved time from having to paint large portions of black colours in the black, because most of it's set at night.
Makes sense.
And the animators actually came up for this art style. It's known as dark deco.
It's good.
Yeah,
it's very good. I like that. That screams Batman as well. Dark deco. Yeah, very good.
Yeah, the other thing I wanted to point out before we sort of got real stuck in was all of the voice acting in the show was done by ensemble. So all the actors in the same room, as opposed to most animation being one person in a booth. So they were actually opposite each other.
Like a table read situation.
Yes. And interestingly, although he doesn't appear in this episode, the only cast member allowed to perform standing up was Mark Hamill, to make it easier to infuse the Joker's manic energy into the voice. Everyone else was sitting. Can you imagine being at a round table reading an episode of Batman and Hamill's like standing over you, cackling, and this sounds like a dream.
Yeah. I think I've had this dream.
My memories are the same as yours as well. Like every Saturday morning up, I get Batman's on. Can't wait. And I used to go down to a now out of business toy warehouse. Do you remember that place on Cuba Street? It was sort of where those shops are on Cuba, in Petone or Alistown.
Yeah.
Yeah, so I used to go down there and get all my Batman animated series action figures, and I just had heaps of different Batmen.
It's quite cool.
I
just had all this cheap stuff from the warehouse.
You could get the Batwing, and it had like a handle underneath it, so you could like fly it around like you were holding. It was kind of like a gun handle.
It's awesome.
And it had a trigger, so you could fire, or not fire, so you could use those claws that the Batwing has from Batman '89.
I think I remember this.
Yeah.
That's quite good. Speaking of Batmobile in this, super long.
Too long? It'd be interesting to see how he'd go on a some of those hills around the suburbs of Wellington.
It's not very practical, is it? It reminded me a little bit of the vehicle from League of Extraordinary Gentlemen. Is that the
Sean Connery's last film, the one that made him quit?
Yeah, the comic book by the guy that all his comic books gets made into movies and he always hates them. What's his name?
Alan Moore.
Watchman guy. Yeah. It kind of reminded me like a black version of when I was looking. I was like, it's like the black version of that with less wheels and a big fire cauldron at the back.
Yeah, I think it's right. But interestingly, in this episode, he jumped on the Bat bike, and I didn't know he put on his Bat helmet.
That's shaped exactly like his cowl, anyway.
Yeah,
but has a chin strap. Well, not chin strap, chin guard, I'd say. I had a little chuckle at that. That was quite funny.
Yeah, so just basic. So we're going with this. This is your Two-Face origin story.
I've got questions.
Yeah. Sure, I'll just run through real quickly what happens, eh? So apparently, I read in the notes that the audience had already been introduced to District Attorney Harvey Dent as a good guy.
Okay.
So this would have come as if you didn't know Harvey Dent becomes Two-Face, this would have been a surprise. Which I definitely wouldn't have at the time, but I can't remember what I was thinking in 1992.
Hey.
But yeah, so Harvey's having a few nightmares, and then it cuts to a raid that's going on that Harvey's orchestrated as DA, and Jim Gordon jumps in with they're about to send everyone in, and then goons start getting thrown out the windows, and someone goes, "What's going on in there?" And Jim Gordon goes, "Looks like they've got a case of a bat infestation." And then some guy spits at Harvey or something, and we get our first look at his sort of his lashing out his other side.
Super sweaty.
Yeah, he does, eh? And basically, it kind of gets revealed that Harvey's dealing with a bit of a split personality, or I'm hesitant to try and diagnose it because I know that especially in media, especially in comic book history, things like bipolar or multiple personalities have been used incredibly inaccurately just for the sake of giving someone extra personalities. But he's dealing with some demons anyway.
I mean, we love comic books, but that's probably not one attribute we want to continue on this podcast.
I enjoy at that event. So basically, his alter ego is called Big Bad Harv, and we get through most of the episode where Harvey's starting to give in to Big Bad Harv, and it ends with a fight in a warehouse of sorts. Batman's trying to save Harvey, but is somewhat responsible for an explosion. He kind of saves him by pushing a gunman, but the gunman makes the explosion happen. And Harvey gets, blown halfway to hell and wakes up in the hospital with the Two-Face look that we're kind of used to. And that's the end of part one. Are you keen to talk a little bit about part one? I'm keen to maybe keep it separate. So talk about part one before we get into part two.
Sure. Yeah. My main question was, you've read a lot more Batman than I have. And I've never read anything about Harvey Dent, Two-Face's origin. Obviously, this differs from the movie slightly, or not even slightly.
I assume you're referencing Tommy Lee Jones and Batman Forever.
Yeah, sorry. No, the most recent one. That actually, well, mind you, there was another question I had. Do they do the origin story in the Tommy Lee Jones one, or is he just Two-Face? Because I don't remember an origin in that movie.
So he's an
origin in that movie.
So he's like the opening scene, he's two-facing about.
Yeah.
But I think there's like
some flashbacks or something.
I think Batman's watching footage, and it's like in a courtroom, and someone like throws acid at him or something.
Oh, that rings a bell. Okay. So, and then obviously when the Punisher becomes Two-Face in the other movie, and it's when he's basically trying to save his missus.
Yeah.
Wait, which one is it?
That's
Aaron
Aaron Eckhart.
or Aaron Eckhart.
It's Aaron Eckhart.
They're the same person, eh? Like, yeah.
Yeah, I mean, I'd happily watch Aaron Eckhart's Punisher, as long as he also has to go up against John Travolta.
Wait, which one? So was this one the Punisher or not?
No,
I still don't think I know if they're different people or not. I don't believe they are. Like I'm pretty sure Dennis Quaid and Kevin Costner are the same person as well, though. So I've got my own issues.
100%.
I suppose the big question is this a comic book accurate telling of the origin of Two-Face?
I don't know.
Like, I wonder if he had, because he just kind of all of a sudden becomes Two-Face more so in the most recent movie, and in this he kind of had elements of being Two-Face before his accident.
Yeah. So I've just googled this, and it's from the Batman wiki. Problem with DC continuity is you've got the Golden Age, you've got the Silver Age, you've got the pre-crisis, the post-crisis, you've got the New 52. So it's hard to know what's canon and what's not. It just says here, growing up under an abusive father, he developed repressed mental illnesses of his own, such as bipolar disorder and schizophrenia. Well, maybe comic book. His hard work ethic, however, allowed him to rise up to become Gotham City's youngest district attorney at the age of 26. Boss Sal Maroni throws acid at Harvey, scarring half his face.
Oh, so Tommy Lee Jones sounds like it's most accurate. I was just interested because I also watched recently Gotham Knights, just on my phone while like at the gym and stuff. It's not actually
that TV show.
Horrendous. Yeah, I didn't think it was that bad.
I can't believe you did that.
And that was it made me think the same thing. I was like, I didn't realize that Harvey had, a bit going on before he really becomes Two-Face, which I think makes him more interesting.
The only time they allude to it in The Dark Knight is when there's mention that his nickname is Two-Face.
Yeah,
down at Gotham Central.
That's not the same thing of like having an alter ego.
Yeah. That one's definitely more just he loses his missus and then loses his mind. I quite like this idea of deep-seated something, and there's still the good part of him. And I know in the comics there's been lots of like Two-Face redemption arcs and things like that. A couple of things I like from this first episode, first part, is at the party or whatever it is that everyone's at, just the banter between Bruce and Harvey. Bruce,
is this the party where Batman's hung up in the hallway with some random bird?
Yeah. It's also where he says, "If you don't do it soon, Harv, I might beat you to it." Talking about marrying Harvey's missus.
That's right. That's quite funny.
I also like, you don't get heaps of Batman development in this, but I really actually enjoy when you get to see him just sort of being Bruce and being Batman. He does a really, really good transition. Like, it's not like he doesn't like go like full on Christian Bale, but he has a really good Bruce voice as well as a Batman voice.
He does.
And when he's Batman, but something happens that affects Bruce, you hear his Bruce voice come out. which I think is great. The other thing I really liked is when the mob boss Rupert Thorne says,
Was Ruben
"All
Thorne?
men suitcase. All men have something to hide. The brighter the picture, the darker the negative." It's like, oh, that's
I
quite
wrote
deep.
that down as well.
It's deep from Suitcase.
Yeah, it was. I knew Ruben Thorne was onto something there. App for today, if you scroll through Instagram, that's probably the truth. Remember being about 31 years old, post-divorce and midlife crisis, and my Instagram game was fucking flying. I don't think I've posted anything on there in years.
No, I think occasionally I can't remember. Maybe my son's first birthday.
Yeah, something like that. Maybe.
The other thing I really liked about this episode is the very end when he stumbles out of the hospital room and reveals his face to his fiancée, and there's lightning in the background, and it's actually quite haunting.
Yeah, you missed a good bit though.
What's that?
Just before then, his doctor showing absolutely no professionalism at all, because he unwraps his face, his mummy face, and then it's like, oh! Jumps back. It's like, you're his doctor, mate.
Didn't you wrap him up?
Oh, terrible
Also,
job there, Doc.
some kind of explosion to make half your face go blue.
Yeah. I like his look. So, yeah, but we'll go to that in part 2, because that's where his look really comes into it.
Yeah.
Let's get into else in part 1 that I was going to bring up. I think you sort of picked up most of the things I did. The only question I had is, I'm pretty sure I've seen that from the intro. How Batman did, the thing I remember the most was that he does that squint. Batman does that squint.
Batman
I'm
squint.
sure I feel like that's either a meme or a GIF going around.
There's a couple. I quite often see the one where the eyes are real big, like the Batman surprise face. But stuff. The other thing we should have mentioned up top is the intro theme, which is done by Danny Elfman, who also does those early Batman movies theme, and it's just phenomenal.
Yeah, agreed.
So part 2, I was blown away straight in. He's already got a couple of goons working for him, but then you realise it's been 6 months have passed.
Yeah, that was my question. How much time has passed? Because he's already got goons, and he's had a suit tailored, and a new vehicle, and a hideout.
Yeah.
I was like, hang on.
Yeah, when did he get that suit? He on one of the viewing orders I found that was just made by someone on Reddit, they actually have an episode in between these two, which makes sense. Called The Forgotten. Is it The Forgotten? Yeah, The Forgotten, which came up a few times as a good episode, but I don't know what it's about. It might have nothing to do with Harvey. He might just be out criming about while Batman's dealing with some other stuff.
Yeah. See, I wasn't sure. I didn't pick up any point where they were like, yeah, it's 6 months has passed or whatever.
I think there's a conversation.
Wondering if, what's his alter ego? Big Harv or whatever? Big Bad Harv?
Yeah.
I wonder if he's actually been operating in the background without him knowing or something, which would have been good. But
Fight Club-esque.
Didn't listen to the dialogue enough.
It'd be cool if it was Fight Club-esque. He gives in to Big Bad Harv and becomes Two-Face, and then Big Bad Harv's like, all right, go to this address, mate, and wait till you see what I've lined up for us.
Yeah.
Couple of ginger goons waiting.
An apartment ripped in half on one side, great on the other. The thing is his suit.
Yep.
The classic suit, the half black, half white.
You
reckon the colours are on the wrong side?
I was looking at it quite intently earlier today, because I found a picture just of him, and I was like, yeah, it seems a little bit all over the place.
I just mean like I feel like a bad guy suit is white, so that should be on the scarred face, and then like a black suit's just normal. So
I mean, we can
normal
agree
face
it's
should have that.
infinitely better than the Tommy Lee Jones suit. Do you remember what
We'll
it
leave
looks
that
like?
for another episode. Oh no, actually, I'm going to go Google. Isn't it really colourful and like?
Yeah. Yeah,
Tommy Lee Jones.
don't get trapped reading one of those articles that talks about how Tommy Lee Jones despises Jim Carrey.
Yes. I forgot about this. If you have your, as long as you're not driving, go and look up that suit. That is just atrocious and fantastic at the same time.
That one where he's like leaning forward with his hands on his chest. What is he wearing?
He's kind of feeling himself up.
Sort of like leopardy parts, and it's yeah.
That's heaps on. Anyway, animated series. Sorry.
Sorry, I just got distracted by another one of his. Is one of his because he's got a couple of girls as like his. I don't know what you'd call them, henchwoman. Is that Drew Barrymore?
Rupees?
Yeah. Is Drew Barrymore in Batman Forever?
I remember that lady though. The one with black hair.
Yes.
I can't see any pictures of her.
Her character's name is Sugar.
Yeah, there you are. Oh, yep, that's her.
It's disappointing for
Not
her.
remember
All right,
that.
anyway, back to good to him. It might be a Batman Forever episode in us. Oh, I don't know if I can watch that. And it's better than Batman and Robin. Anyway, so I enjoy that at the start how you get Bruce's trauma over feeling responsible for Harvey's accident. And but then in that trauma, it switches from Harvey blaming him to his parents, and just like dropping those seeds of who Bruce is, and
Good little dream sequence there.
yeah.
I don't like how every time someone's suffering a little bit of stress, they're just like super sweaty, like just like raining. They do it to Batman, to Bruce in that moment as well. It's quite gross.
So basically, we've sort of got two side stories here, or two stories running parallel. You got Bruce and Alfred trying to work out what Two-Face's next move's going to be. Bruce still wants to save him. And then you've got Reuben Thorne and his gang trying to deal with the fact that Two-Face has been running all their joints down and whatever, stealing from them. And it's actually Reuben Thorne's 2IC lady who comes up with a good plan of going to the fiancée and tricking her into luring Harvey out. And yeah, Batman tries to save him. He goes down real easy. And then Two-Face gets captured because his missus and him get tricked. And there's a big old face-off at the end. Batman's really struggling with his arm injury, but he turns up and Harvey saves Batman. Batman sort of saves Harvey by stopping him from killing Reuben Thorne. And it kind of ends vaguely enough that is Two-Face going to be saved, or will he be back? But Reuben Thorne's captured, and yeah, I had a great time. Favorite parts from Ep 2, Paddy?
I think just any scene with the two ginger goons, the twins. I can't remember their names, but they were pretty good. Reuben Thorne's a good character. I don't know anything about him, but I enjoyed it.
He had that really good quote in the first episode, and he's got a really good quote in this episode.
What a different voice for a Chicago, New York mobster type character.
Did you enjoy the
like a lot
part
of those
where
characters are based off those sorts.
Two-Face gets taken into the room or whatever, and Reuben Thorne goes, "At last we meet, face to face to face."
Yeah, Reuben Thorne was on fire here. But yeah, part one had a bit more going on, but this wrapped up quite nicely. Had that good dream sequence. Reuben Thorne played a bit more of a role, I suppose, on this one. But then it kind of just wrapped up pretty quickly as to, all right, we're going to put Two-Face away for later episodes, basically.
I did really like a couple of things. One, when Two-Face is putting money into his wallet, you get a look at his credit card, and the name on the credit card is Two-Face.
Yeah.
And that's 6 months he'd set up a new bank account.
Yeah, I didn't pick up on that. That's where I would have been like, oh, yeah, there must have been more time. Mind you, it could have been Big Bad Harv. It already set up. Mind you, it would have been in Big Bad Harv's name, though, wouldn't it?
Maybe. Yeah. Who knows what Big Bad Harv was thinking? But I also, I really like, and we'll come back to it, but Batman's quick thinking to prevent the toss of the coin.
How handy.
He just throws a whole bunch of coins.
There was a big box of Uglies coins right next to him. It was really helpful.
But it was, that seed was planted earlier when they stole that box of coins. Yeah, all in all, just what a great way to start a few Batman animated series episodes, if you ask me.
Yeah, totally agree. Really enjoy all these characters. I did miss like as soon as I saw Gordon, I was like, I forgot that's what Gordon looks like in this, and he's awesome.
Yeah.
And I wanted more Gordon. I didn't get much Gordon out of these 2 episodes, but I still really enjoyed this little storyline
about this, and not doing every episode because that would be impossible, and X-Men nearly killed us. But there's so many good villains and just characters, you know, like Robin comes in the later seasons. You get Nightwing and a new Robin. There's Batgirl. There's his like incredible rogues, right? Like obviously we have to cover Hamill as Joker, but like Freeze is real good in this. Catwoman's real good. Penguin's mint.
Is this the animated series that introduces Harley Quinn, or is it one of the later ones?
This is it.
It is this? Okay, cool. Yeah, because I was thinking this looked a lot like I've got the hardback copy of Mad Love.
Oh yeah.
That's probably the last time I'd seen this animation.
Yeah, interesting. I think if I go to all episodes just quickly, I'm sure there is. I'm just going to skim through quickly. Well, how can I skim through 85 episodes quickly? I'm going to give up in a minute. I've given up. I got up to 50. I'm pretty sure there's an episode that, if it's not called Mad Love, it's called something like that. Right, before we get into some Tracy trivia, MVP.
This was tough. There was a lot of greats. I wanted it to be Gordon as soon as I saw him, but he's just not in it enough. There's a lot of really great just mobster henchmen. All of them are funny. Every single one of them.
All got great voice acting.
I was going to give it to his Harvey's henchmen, the 2 ginger twins. I can't remember their name, so I'm going to give it to Reuben Thorne.
He's made up for it. That's fair.
Obviously, like, have you ever heard anyone with the name Rupert be called Rupee for short?
I thought the short for Rupert was Roop.
Yeah, his offsider, the chick that pretends to be the detective calls him Rupee at one point. Oh, it hit my ear wrong. I was like, Rupee.
I don't
Weird.
like it.
I don't like it at all.
My MVP is probably, I'm going to go with Big Bad Harv as an independent
Good.
character from Harvey and Two-Face. I really
Yeah.
love when he's with the psychiatrist and he's like, I can't write it down, but he says something like, oh, "That's the problem. Harvey's not here anymore."
That window breaks way too easy for that office being about 30 flights up.
Kind of like Batman's arm. Like Harvey kicks
Yeah.
him and he's got a broken arm.
No, it's Big Bad Harv.
And to be fair, Harvey is a big bloke. Although they keep talking about how handsome he is, and I was like, I'm not even pre-incident. I wasn't sure he was that good looking.
No. I wonder who the DA was before him. He's been a real warlock.
Yeah, pass. Right. Should we do some Tracy trivia?
Hit me with the Tracy trivia.
Excellent. So I think I already mentioned that they deliberately took the time to show Harvey Dent in several episodes before this, so to have shock value on the readers, our viewers, and the reason why they like the writers liked Harvey so much is because they got to develop him in that way. It's why he comes back quite a lot. By all accounts, the writers felt that this was the episode, or these were the episodes where everything really gelled for the first time, and it set the tone for the rest of the series. You know that scene where Dent, that you love so much, where the doctor's in shock seeing Harvey's face for the first time. Is that familiar to you at all?
No.
It's an homage to a similar scene in Batman '89 when the Joker's face is first revealed.
Oh, okay. Pretty good.
Speaking of homages,
I was just shocked by his lack of professionalism, to be fair.
So speaking of homages, in reverse, in Batman Forever, which we've already discussed too much, Alfred mentions in these episodes to Batman, maybe they should warn the second bank of Gotham as a list of places Two-Face might go to. And then in Batman Forever, the second bank of Gotham is Two-Face's target in the opening sequence, homage to the cartoon. And then also, I don't know how well you remember Batman Forever, but Batman gets Two-Face with the same routine at the end of Batman Forever with the multiple coins.
I don't remember that, but good stuff.
I didn't mention this before, but Harvey just falling to absolute pieces when Batman throws the coins. It's just like, you just feel so sorry for him.
Yeah. He's got some demons, man.
Yeah.
Needs help.
So this is a quote from Kevin Altieri, who was, I think he's one of the directors, or he said about the script. It was better than anything the comics had ever done on that character. I'm pretty notorious for changing scripts, which I don't do with malice, but for a love of the medium. But that script didn't need to be changed very much. There were embellishments I gave to it, like adding the rainstorms to the staging of the psychiatric's office. So obviously they thought this one was the beginning of just perfect, I guess. The other thing, so Bruce Timm, the artist and producer, said of this episode, this is such an adult show that I bet kids don't like it. There's not a whole lot of action and Batman's hardly in it. It's a lot of talking heads. But it works on such a powerful emotional level that I'm sure that anyone over the age of 6 is going to get sucked right into it. It's absolutely compelling. They always talk about the Batman films being oh so psychological. Bull. This episode is a compelling psychological drama.
never really thought about that, but Batman isn't really in this these 2 episodes.
Apparently, that happens quite a lot.
Okay, I'm fine with that.
Yeah, I think that's a Batman thing.
Yeah.
During the beginning of the robbery, Two-Face tells everyone, "For the next 5 minutes, I'm in control," which was a quote by Al Pacino in Dog Day Afternoon, and Al Pacino was offered the role of Two-Face. And that's all I have for Tracy trivia. But
it was interesting that he said it was nothing like what had been done in the comics. So I wonder if that lends itself to being an original tale of the origin.
Yeah. You know what it makes me think about? Accounting.
I bet it does.
Now, if you were starting out as a crime lord and you were stealing other crime lords' money, you'd probably want a pretty good accountant, right?
Well, if I only had 6 months to really get my shit together, I know exactly who I'd call. Accountants Plus.
Accountants Plus. To all you aspiring crime bosses out there, talk to our Matt Jace. Accountants Plus, he'll look after you. Legally above the board.
GST, invoicing, money laundering, anything you need, business planning. Probably not the money laundering. We should probably cut that out. There's an actual accountant.
Yeah.
He does a great job.
Yeah. We can help you with those other little bits and pieces, though, if you want. You need to set up a laundromat or something. We can, maybe a barber shop. We'll run that money for you.
I'm not responding to that. This feels like entrapment. But this was great. I want to do more episodes. If we're not going to do them, I'm probably going to try and find wherever this is on. I feel like it might be on Prime for some reason.
I had a look on Prime. I couldn't see it. I think it was on Prime, and now it's on Max, and we can't get Max unless you've got a VPN.
I do. I'm going to watch some more of this, even if we don't do episodes on it, because I really enjoyed it.
I've got a list of 10, so
cool. I'll need those. Maybe we should push those out on the socials as well, because it's been great stuff.
Sweet. All right. Well, if that's all said and done, speaking of socials, WIWT90s, Twitter/X, Instagram, Facebook, TikTok. Still haven't started our MySpace page, but I'm thinking about it.
PO box.
But yeah. Well, should we get a Bebo?
Bebo. That site's still live. Would be, wouldn't it? Would just be advertising some bullshit.
Yeah. I don't know, but yeah, certainly if you've got episodes to request, let us know. I would, without ever complaining, I would do any listener requests for Batman the Animated Series in a heartbeat.
Very much so. And if you've got any suggestions for Saturday morning cartoons, let us know what your favourite Saturday morning cartoons were in the 90s, and we will consider it, possibly.
Yeah, I'm up for that. I'll do some Doug.
Doug. There we go. Plant the seed.
All right. That we don't have a sign out for this, because we don't have a. I don't even remember our X-Men one either. So just
let's go home. I don't remember your bit. I remember mine.
I don't remember mine. So all right, buddy. All right, pal.
All right, go keep it.
Bye.